If you have only 2 months to go before the professional licensure examination, what would you do? How would you cope with the increasing pressure? So let's get some inspiration from Elise Francisco-Tabong. She graduated from the University of the Philippines and landed in the top 3 of the 2014 Architect Licensure exam. And a few months after, she took the Master Plumber's board exam and she landed in the top 6. Let's hear it from Elise. What would you advise the students going to take the board exam in 2 months' time?
Really, the key is to know yourself, focused on which subjects you're not that good at, but you also have to learn how to stop. So I guess if it's already November by this time, what I would do is review my schedule. Am I not on time already? What is there left to study? And then revise the schedule, adjust it, and then stick to it. What I mean stick to it is if you're going to allot, let's say, because you have 8 weeks left, if you're going to review one subject per week, after that week expires, you stop. So that's where the discipline comes. You have to stop studying that subject and move on to the next, because you don't really know what will come out of the exam. So if you will just focus on just a few subjects, and it so happens that the exam have a lot of questions on the other subjects that you did not study, then it's not going to work for you. So you make sure that you give time for all of the subjects, no matter how short that time is. And then also, if maybe you're overestimating this, maybe you want to read 5 books in a week, and that's not possible anymore, then you need to also be practical. Maybe trim down the things that you have to study. And then, if you enrolled in review centers, do not limit yourself to the review materials that are being given there, because most of the time, they're based on the past exams. Some of those might appear in the exam, but a lot of those will not. So you don't really know what will come out of the exam. But what you know is you want to pass the licensure exam because you want to be the professional that you want to be. So in my case, because I want to be an architect. So what you ask yourself is, as an architect, if I become an architect, what am I supposed to know? And then that's what you focus on. So in more concrete terms, what happened to me was I looked at brochures, material, product specifications of paints, of steel, of roofs, and different kinds of materials. Those are probably not in the review notes, but those are practical things that you are supposed to know if you were to become an architect. So you study those kinds of materials, even if they are not in the review center's list of materials and notes. I guess the very point is, now is not the time to panic. Now is not the time to be discouraged, because it's not gonna help you. 2 months may be short because your plan was long term, but 2 months is still 2 months. It's still a lot of weeks and days. So if you have to adjust, but do not get discouraged. So I guess that's the best thing to do now. What I did was I listed down all the subjects that I have to study, and then I took note of the time that I have remaining before the exam. So let's say that's 3 months. I divided the time equally for all of the subjects, and then I asked myself, what is my weakness? And then I adjusted that schedule so that I would spend more time for that subject. So that's how I did the preparation. And then the problem with me, or is not really a problem, but I know everybody will tell you not to make a schedule. But I guess the challenge with me is I just could not follow the schedule. So when I set a schedule, I cannot do it perfectly. And I think everybody or a lot of people would relate to that. So what happens is when you're making a typical schedule, you would say, okay, I would start working at 1 p.m. and then I would stop after 2 hours, take a break, so on. I could not do it. So what I did was I made a flexible schedule. So I guess that's part of the preparation. I thought about how I should do it based on how I know myself. So I know myself. I know that I could not, a very strict schedule would not work for me. So that's how I did it. I made a flexible schedule.
How come you could not follow a schedule?
I think it's because I was so much of a perfectionist. There are things that I could not control, of course. So let's say you said that you're gonna start studying at 1 p.m. What if I was at home and we ate lunch a little late? So now I could not start at 1 p.m. So there are things that I could not control. But because I was such a perfectionist, it discourages me a lot. So I don't want to study anymore because I was not able to start at 1 p.m. So that's what happens. There are things around you that you could not control. So you have to adjust.
Did you ever feel that you could have done better in college?
Yes. Actually, when I started reviewing for the examination, that was the main thought. I'm actually just your typical college student, no. I did not have Latin honors when I graduated. So when I started reviewing for the board exam, my thought was, okay, I have one more chance to do my best. No, and it will just last for 6 months. I just have to study very well for 6 months. So I'm gonna do my best this time because it's another chance for me. So yeah, I guess there was a little bit of guilt there, but there's always another chance, and that board exam was that chance for me.
You always have to tell yourself, you've got this chance, you can do better. You always have to encourage yourself.
Every day, the first thing that I would do is I would pray. And then after I pray, it sets the mood kasi. So I become focused for the rest of the hours that I scheduled for studying. So I think that helps me not have negative thoughts. And also because from the very start, I made a goal for myself. And the goal was to do my best for my parents and God. So every time that I feel that I did not do enough, I'm just gonna tell myself, okay, I was not able to do well in the past month. I still have one more month. Or, okay, last week I did not finish my schedule. It's a new week. So I'm gonna do this better for that person. And that person is God and my parents. So it was really a conscious effort. Unfortunately, if I were just doing it for myself, maybe I would have become pessimistic. No, but that helps me, thinking that I'm offering this to God and for my parents. So I cannot give up because I do not want to disappoint them. I could disappoint myself, but I do not want to disappoint them. So every time I'm just gonna do better for the next week, for the next day, for the next month. So that's how that was my mindset.
And why do you say that you could disappoint yourself but not your parents?
It's like when you have a mentor who guides you, it's hard to guide yourself, diba? Because sometimes you go easy on yourself. So sometimes you rationalize things. Now it's okay. I'm not guilty because I had to rest. I had to take a break. So you're a little bit easy on yourself. But when you're doing it for somebody else, at least it works better for me, that I do not want to give excuses because I want to give my best for that person.
What did you feel when you got the top 3 in the architect board exam?
Well, I was not expecting it. Actually, after the exam itself, I tried to really totally forget about the exam so that I will not get nervous about the results. So somebody just called me and then congratulated me, you're top 3. So I was just dumbfounded. And then na agad yun, actually, pray na God, thank you agad kay Lord yun. And then I told my parents. So more of surprise talaga yung feeling.
But wouldn't your effort in reviewing really be commensurate to the result somehow? Like, did you really study so hard and that is really unexpected that you will top?
I guess it's because of I really consciously forgot about the exam. I told myself, okay, after the exam, I'm going to stop thinking about it. I'm going to not think about the results. I'm not even going to wait for the results. So I did it consciously. Kaya when the results came out, I was surprised.
Does it help in your career to be a top-notcher?
Yes, of course, it will help you, especially when you start your practice. Because, of course, before you take the board exam, you're still just a graduate, an apprentice in our case, because in architecture, you're supposed to have 2 years apprenticeship before you can even take the board exam. So after that, of course, they will now recognize you as a professional, and it's also an edge when they see it in your resume. So it's very useful actually for the first part of your practice.
What did you feel when you landed top notcher again in a second board exam?
Of course, I was very happy, although if I was surprised of the ranking for the architecture exam, I was more surprised by this because we really thought that we would fail. No? It was very difficult. Actually, when the three of us, my friends, took the exam, after the exam, we thought that we would fail. You know, the first thing that we did after the exam was go to church, spend a little bit of time there, and then we started computing our grades. No, are we going to even pass the exam? So it was actually a very hard exam, and we were lucky to have passed.
Thank you very much, Elise.
Thank you, and also for inviting me. I did not expect that after a few years I would be talking about the board exam again.
If you got inspired by Elise, I bet you're going to like this other video, also from another top notcher, London Top 3. So check out this video and this other video that will also be helpful. And I hope you subscribe to this channel, click the red button below where you are watching, and also click the notification bell so that you will know when I am uploading a new video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.